Joined now by a World Series champion with the Atlanta Braves and an All-Star himself, Ryan Klesko. Ryan, thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the fact that this All-Star game is in Atlanta. I know you never played at Truist Park during your career, but this was the city where you spent the first half of your career in, even though you're a California guy. I know you love Atlanta. How pumped are you to see the All-Star game happen in the A this year?
Oh, finally. It's been a while, right? Truist Ballpark is absolutely amazing. It's kind of a city within a city, the restaurants. I mean, it's a full experience. People come in town for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, even a week. Great restaurants, great hotels, and shopping all around. It's a great experience. It's one of the best in baseball for sure.
I love the fact that you're getting ready to be a coach for the American League and the All-Star Futures game, because you have your hands in so much coaching right now and so much development. You do so much when it comes to developing these young athletes. What are you looking forward to the most as a coach in the Futures game?
Man, it's so cool to be able to go over the experiences with these kids and maybe give them some stuff that I went through, maybe help any type of little crumb that you can leave for them. Is like, whether, coming up and how big of the middle part of the game is in baseball, whether it be going through your first slump in the major leagues or making it to the major leagues or, dealing with the media. I mean, there's so much stuff that happens to a player that you don't really get to talk about, not just hitting and pitching, but all the other aspects. So some of the stuff that I came up and did is like to help a player get ready, and I think I had a lot of really good guys. I remember, Hank Aaron was around and Willie Stargell was around, and we had Warren Spahn around. We had former Dale Murphy was around to help us with that. So the game of baseball is really tough because it's based off of failure. These kids are failing 70% of the time. And that's really good. If you fail 70% of the time in the major leagues, you're probably going to go to the Hall of Fame. So we have to. There's a lot of those experiences. I was talking to the kids earlier on the way up here about how to be able to put a lot of that, failure behind you and focus on the next pitch and the next game. And so that's something that we talk about. Listen, all these guys are ready to go, right? But it's what you can teach them is the middle part of the game, which is so important that it's really not talked about a whole lot.
What are some of the most valuable lessons that you learned at the plate?
I would say don't try to do too much, especially when you get to the big leagues, to prove that you need to be there. I think stay within your game. If you're a fastball hitter, hit off the fastball. If you're a double guy, if you hit a lot of singles and doubles, don't try to hit home runs. Listen to the guys that have been successful and be willing to learn every day. Again, being in the Braves organization early on, and then going over to have, for me, I was very blessed in my career. I played with Trevor Hoffman, Hall of Famer, Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, all Hall of Famers. So if you just pick up a little bit of what they do, Tony Gwynn in San Diego, I was always, early on I was a little bit stubborn, but I think as I grew as a player and always wanted to get better, always wanted to take it to the next level. It's just learn from the best and continually to work. And because this game will humble you really fast. You could go out and go 4 for 4 one game and have the best game of your life, and then the next dang gang you're out there go 0 for 3, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And it's a very humbling game. You got to be able to bounce back after the bad days.
Working in that middle piece too is crucial. I'm glad that you're teaching those kids those lessons. And you look at the coaches for both the AL and the NL, and you mentioned a bunch of the guys that you played with. Some of them are going to be participating with you on the coaches side. I've seen some videos of you and Fred McGriff giggling with each other back in the day. What's it going to be like sharing the dugout with some of those guys again?
Yes, it's awesome. We always have fun, right? Because the main thing is to be able to relax and have some fun, because, again, there's so much stress and so much negativity when it comes to just battling, guys that are throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour every day and just, trying to get ahead and trying to help your team win and having that family type of atmosphere. And so you've got to be able to laugh the stuff off sometimes and be able to put it behind you. But tell you what, seeing those guys and learning from Freddie and coming up with Chipper and all those guys, and and even like even my last year playing with Barry Bonds, in my opinion, probably the best player to ever play the game, is learning from him. Learning from him my very last year and watching him break the all-time home run record and spending time with Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman. It's so cool to have those experiences.
I know you guys are all brothers. This is a brotherhood, but any trash talking going to take place before the game?
Probably not. There might be a little bit, but usually, we know, look, we're older. We're here for the kids. If we can just help one kid, further his career, help him get to the big leagues and stay in the big leagues, I think it makes it worth it, because I bet you if you ask every one of these guys who kind of helped you get there, like with Barry, it was, his godfather, Willie Mays, and his dad, and with Trevor, it was probably his older brother, and I'm guessing in Chipper, and I was obviously with his dad. And there's always some influential people in their lives that help them get to the next level. And I think that we owe it to the next generation to be able to give what we learned back to them. Because if we wouldn't have that from the people before us, I'd have never made it.
I think it's awesome, and you can tell you're really fired up about this experience. So we're excited for all of you guys to be out there for the Futures game. And speaking of all of your teammates, it's hard to believe that this is the 30th anniversary of the 1995 World Series. So aside from there being so many All-Stars and Hall of Famers on that team, what was so special about that group that won?
Oh gosh, we had a lot of special teams. But that year, I thought that we felt it. I felt. Even though that Cleveland had these they just set the wins record. Cleveland was a powerhouse. They won 110 games or whatever they did. They had a very, very good team, but we felt that we could match up good. We felt we had some really good starting pitchers, which we always had. But I think every year, honestly, every year that you go into a season, you feel like you have that chance. And I think even if you did it, I think the feeling was always there. Like if we picked together as a team and did our very best, the whole hunt, it makes it such for a good season. And most of my career, we were in the playoffs. There was only a couple years we didn't go to the playoffs. Even in San Diego, we made it a few years. Is that belief that you had the team to do it. And that's part of your motivation to go out there and just work hard every day too, because it's a team game. And some people don't understand that. And I think a lot of kids get messed up at young ages. Like it still is a team sport, and you have to be able to sacrifice yourself in certain at bats and getting runners over and getting them in and sacrifice yourself for the team too.
Yeah, one of the things that you're talking about is this consistent belief throughout a team. The Braves this year, they believe that they have it in them to play better baseball. You were a really consistent hitter throughout your career, but you said it earlier, it's baseball. That wasn't always the case, and there's always highs and lows when it comes to even your appearances at the plate. So tell me what exactly you would do right now to fix the Braves' inconsistencies at the plate this year.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think my number one thing is with guys when they're struggling is to focus on the next pitch. We can't do anything about yesterday. We can't do anything about your last at bat. When you're on the mound, you can't do anything about that pitch that just went out of the ballpark 450 feet. From the teenagers all the way into the pros, like if you can consistently worry about performing the next pitch, the next out, you can't control what you can't control, which has already happened. All you can control is the next pitch. And then if you can really think about, I'm going to do my best the next pitch. I can't worry about my 0 for 4 yesterday. And I think that helped me out more than anything with some of the veterans that helped me out. So you only can control what's going to happen next. You can't control yesterday and you can't control tomorrow. You only can control what you're doing right then and there. And I think if I would have been told that at an earlier age, I think that would have helped my mental part a little bit better at the plate.
All goes back to the mental piece that you've been talking about throughout this entire conversation. I want to ask you about one specific player, Ronald Acuna Jr., who's going to be in the home run derby. What makes him different?
He has got lightning hands. I've only played with a few guys. Like it seems like when he has got such fast hands that he's got time to react for a lot more time than some of these other guys could. I've literally looked like he didn't even decide to swing to the last millisecond, and he can catch up to a ball. And that's just having blessed with really, really fast hands and working. There's only a few hitters in the game that I've seen in the last 30 years that have hands as fast as him, and all of them are Hall of Famers. Barry Bonds is one of them.
Wow, that's awesome. And what do you think about when you see Ronald Acuna Jr., other than the hands? What goes through your mind when you see him working at the plate?
I know that he's got a potential at any given time to drive the ball out any part of the ballpark, and I think he's really figured that out over the last few years. The only time he's ever really struggled is I think sometimes when he starts try to pull the ball a little bit too much. But it's just an amazing player to watch. It's very special.
All right, Ryan, you're going to be out at the All-Star Village. Tell those fans what they need to know about that experience.
Say that again?
You're going to be out at the All-Star Village. Tell all the fans what they need to know about how to see you and all about that experience.
Be prepared to get there early and spend a long time. There's so much stuff to do. It's one of the best ballparks in the country. It's probably going to be hot, so stay cool. Plenty of things to do. I mean, everything around the Battery. They've got little bowling alleys. They've got every type of food you can imagine. I think there's even one of those things where they go in the room when you try to get out. I think there's even one of those around. So you can go try to get yourself out of a locked room even. I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff to be there. The All-Star festivities, they're going to have everything. They're going to have former players. They're going to have meet and greet. They're going to have great food. It's going to be a really great experience.
And you'll be a part of that meet and greet at the All-Star Village, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if fans want to go, they need to, and they need to go early, like you said. Ryan, thank you so much. Appreciate the time, and have a blast during All-Star Week.
Thank you.